In this project, we'll start taking a basic look at the bash shell. What is a shell in the first place? It's an interface for an operating system. You have a GUI, a graphical user interface, common ones, the Windows interface. In Unix, GNOME is a common interface. Its pronunciation is normally mispronounced. You also have KDE, XFCE, and many others on Unix systems. CLI is command line interface. Notice bash is listed under the CLI. Other common ones, PowerShell on Windows. Being depreciated on Windows is the command prompt. Other Unix systems may use TCSH or others, but these are the most common. The bash shell provides a prompt. A prompt is an area for inputting text commands into a computer. The bash prompt normally displays some useful information, such as the username, the computer name, current directory, and privilege level. The privilege level is important to look at. It is the last symbol of the prompt. A root user will always have a pound sign on Unix type operating systems. This means you have full, unrestricted administrative access to the device. Any other symbol, normally a $sign, represents you are in as a normal user and you have limited privileges. Commands in Unix and Linux are case sensitive. So typing who with an uppercase W is different than typing who all lowercase. The first one, you would get an error, command not found, whereas the latter, WHO in lowercase, you would get an output. There are more than one interface. There are typically around 6 on a Unix system. You can switch between them by using Control-Alt and an F key. Typically, F2 through F6 will take you to a command line interface login. F1 or possibly F7 will take you to a graphical user interface if the Unix system is installed with one. For fun, the movie Tron Legacy from 2010, the main character Sam enters the grid. He uses a command line interface, and some of the commands used in this project show up in the movie. You can use YouTube and search for Sam enters the grid and watch a short clip if you wish. We will now do project 2-2 on our Oracle Linux machine. Start your virtualization product, in my case Hyper-V, and start your Linux. We'll have to right click and connect on Hyper-V and click Start. I'll click Continue if it asks for checkpointing. Once the system starts, we're going to use our Control-Alt keys to select different terminal screens. On step 1, we will launch into a graphical login screen, but we're going to bypass by holding down the Control and Alt key on the keyboard, then pressing F3. That will switch us to a command line interface. It's asking for the username. Supply user1 as instructed. Supply the password of secret. Notice you don't see your typing. Once you press enter, you'll be presented with a prompt. Or potentially, if you typed a password wrong, you'll get an error. Notice the prompt that I received. I have my username, the host name, the folder I'm in, and the $sign. The $sign is the privilege level. It is not a £, so I'm in as a non-privileged or normal user account. Type date. The command will display the current date and time. Try date with a capital D. Here we see case sensitivity is definitely an issue. Please pay attention to error message so you know when something doesn't work. When I issued the command, the shell prompt says, "Hey, bash, I'm here," followed by date. This is what you typed. Followed by the error. In this case, I can't find what you typed in. So I would have to recognize I need to fix my spelling or case sensitivity. In step 3, we want to log into somebody different on a separate terminal. Use Control-Alt key again. Press F5. Notice we're taken to a new login screen. Here we log in as root and the password of pass1234 as we specified while we installed the operating system. The prompt is updated with the correct username. Notice at the end though, the privilege level, we have a £. That lets us know we have full root or administrative privileges. Type in who and press enter. This command lets us know all the people logged into the system and on which terminal they're logged. So here there's TTY3 and TTY5. So I can use my Control-Alt and my F keys that associates with F3 or F5 to switch between the users. Let's hit Control-Alt F3. Notice I'm taken back to Terminal 3. I'm still logged in as User1 as it showed on my screen when I typed in who. You have a list of commands on page 73 of your book, Table 2-6. It says type them in, see what they do. The first one is clear. It clears the screen. There are some others like W. Shows almost the same thing as who, but also shows the last program they ran at the far right. Who am I? This is one of the commands you will see in the Tron movie mentioned earlier. The last command in the table is exit. It logs you out of the shell. Of course, you will need to try all the commands in 2-6. I just did a few. Switch back to Terminal 5, Control-Alt F5. Here you're logged in as root. Type in cal to bring up the calendar. At this point, you want to take a screenshot. So I'll use the snipping tool or snip in Sketch, depending on what is installed. Draw a rectangle around the entire screen. include any errors. Don't just skip out and screenshot the last command. Always screenshot the entire Oracle Linux screen. Save the image as project 2-2. Once it's saved, I'll go over the steps again for submitting the assignment. Launch Google Chrome and go into your class. Go into the current week for the assignment, in this case week 2. Click project 2-2. You can click on the rocket ship. Browse to the folder where you saved the screenshot. Click the screenshot and open the file. It will appear in the list. Then submit the assignment. Once the assignment is submitted, you want to finish the lab out by typing exit. You're now ready to proceed to project 2-3.